the garden called Paradise at Home, and you can see exactly why it's called Paradise at Home. It's got a beautiful water feature that also serves as a bench, right falling into this plunge area here, which is so inviting. Of course, most importantly, it's got a great combination of plants. The use of indigenous and exotic, a bit of palms to give some height, and then of course to give that instant look, some beautiful crocus palms. And they really do give you the height and create the canopy within the garden. What I do like about it is the fact that you can walk through it, meander right through the garden on these beautiful kind of hourglass shaped little stepping stones. And they've been positioned in such a way that it's kind of odd and it's put together a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, but it allows you to walk right through the garden. Interplanted with the dwarf mondo grass, which of course requires about, yes, zip, that much maintenance. So you can literally just put it down here, you don't need to mow it, all you need to do is give it a bit of water every now and then, and it's going to do its trick. I'm with Craig Denecker from The Friendly Plant to find out a bit more about his garden. It all got done and dusted.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would get done.
Okay, so when we first met you and said, Craig, you got to build a garden, and 5x5, and we want some cement projects inside it, and what were your thoughts?
We always like a challenge, so it wasn't a problem for us. We were just a question of what to do and how to do it. I wanted to have some kind of a movement in the garden, so I decided that we should have a water feature, and I like the idea of manufacturing something. It would have to be a custom thing, it wouldn't be something that's off the shelf. So I like the idea with concrete to have a cantilever water feature that would essentially be water coming out of a concrete slab, and it doubles as a bench. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, very, very nice challenges. Now, talk us through the basic style of the garden.
It's a very informal style. It's a lush, tropical kind of relaxing environment. I always find palm trees remind me of the beach, and that's always relaxing. So, we went with palm trees and a couple of cycasses, 2 different types of palms. We used shortish palms, Phoenix rubellini, as well as taller crocus palms, because it gives you the different heights, and otherwise with the tall palms you just see the stems, you don't get the benefit of the canopy. We used some indigenous plants like agapanthus and some...
saw some plumbago in there as well.
Plumbago was in there, and Tacoma as well, Tacoma capensis.
You know what's interesting with the palms is that no matter how big your garden is or how small your garden is, that you can get them pretty big already.
Yeah, you can.
Which is really nice. I mean, if you kind of instant gardener, you just go along, get a 3-meter palm tree, bang, in it goes.
And the bag size is not always that big. You can have quite a tall tree that's manageable. It's easy to carry. You don't have to have five or 6 people to lug the thing in.
Talk me through a bit of the balance, because when you're dealing with such a small area, I think the palms worked and did the job quite nicely there to get your height and balance.
It gave a bit of height, because the thing is to have that third dimension always makes a difference in a garden. Whether you lift something up in terms of a patio or a fire pit area, or you lower something into perhaps a water feature or something, it always adds that extra perspective. It's not all flat, not 2D in a garden. Because it's something that you experience, it's always better to have it in a 3D type of environment.
Now let's talk about these awesome paving blocks and that you've got in there. Talk us through those. And I saw in the build-up it was quite a challenge to get them in their right spot. Give us a bit of background on that.
Yes, well, the thing is, if you use square pavers, you're pretty much lining them up, so it's a precision job. With these, what's nice is it's got that relaxed kind of feel. So it kind of makes you think that it's easy to just put them down anywhere.
Looks like you just went bang.
Well, that's what we thought until this one. We made them from scratch, so it wasn't something we ever used before.
Yes.
So putting them down was a little bit challenging, but it worked out very nicely. It was just you got to sort of have an eye for it, and you sort of see what looks right, and then you know, okay, that's good. We put mondos in between, and that really brought out the contrast between the pavers.
And I often say to folks, there's no set rule on how to do this.
No.
There's no set method. You actually just have to put one down and let it kind of sink in. Does it work? Doesn't it work?
It's very subjective. What one person likes, someone else might not like. So it's very individualistic. When you're happy with it, that you like it, you must stop. You'll never
Is that where there are too many cooks spoil the broth in the garden?
You'll never please all the people all the time.
How difficult were they to make?
They're not actually that tricky. It's just you need to have a bit of time, and the consistency is the key, because we want to make them all. Well, in our case, we wanted to make them as similar to each other as we could. So it looks like we almost got to have one mold that we went through, but probably a 6 out of 10. difficulty.
Okay. And the water feature, was that that's quite a engineering feat going on there?
Quite a challenge. Ideally, we would like to have it in concrete. In real life, we could make it in concrete, but the problem is with a show, that thing would weigh a ton, so you wouldn't be able to transport it.
Yeah.
So we basically made it look like concrete, and you want to show what you can do with a cement product, because people always think of massive buildings when it comes to cement, but there's a lot that you do in the garden. You know, it's nice to have a balance, a bit of hardscapes and softscapes. So with the cement look, it's basically it looks as if it would look if we did it in real life. But the idea is that it's very streamlined, elegant flow of water coming over the edge.
You use a lot of water in gardens?
We do. I think it's a very relaxing thing to have. It's also nice to drown out traffic noise. It creates a soundtrack for the garden. You know, you don't. Not that many people have got speakers in their garden. I mean, they do, but not that many. And it's nice if you've got a water feature on. It's something that relaxes you. When you go outside, you hear. Not just the birds and that, you're hearing movement of water, which livens the place up, adds life.
Finally, what were some of the major challenges in this build-up?
Finishing in time.
3 days to build a garden, which looks like it's been growing here for years and years and years.
That's always a challenge with a short show. You got two or 2.5 days to build up. And if you're just putting up a roller display, it's easy. But if you've got to plant a garden up and position everything full in with soil and all the other things that people don't realize you have to do, it's quite a challenge to fit in. That's normally our biggest problem. So that's why always the last minute is very important for us, because that's when everything gets done.
It always is. Well, Craig, I think you and your team did a great job. I love those little stepping stones. I think they're really groovy. And thanks so much.
No, thanks, Tanya. Thanks very much.
There are a couple of plants in this garden that are really spectacular, and the one certainly being these little dwarf agapanthus. And remember, they're tough as nails. And with the hybrids like this little guy, they have been bred so that they flower right through the summer, into the autumn and into the early winter, which means that you are going to have flowers for almost 3/4 of the year. Remember, at the end of the flowering season, that's the time when you divide them and split them, and then you can plant them into other areas of your garden. Here's another great plant which has been used in this garden. It's called Phoenix rubellini. Also a palm family, miniature date palm, will grow to about 2 meters in height, but it's quite slow growing, which means it's a great container plant. You can also get them quite big already, so kind of for instant gardening, it works quite well. Put a few of these, like 3 have been used just in this garden, and it gives you that great balance that we're looking for. And it will also draw your eye into the garden. Miniature date palms are lovely because the birds enjoy them, and they can grow in tropical areas or in areas that get quite cold. So you're pretty much okay all around South Africa with putting this plant in your garden. Phoenix rubellini, the miniature date palm.